Alright everyone, the future is looking a little bit brighter today because CNN has taken an absolute pounding over the last few days. In the wake of CNN's blackmail problem, where they tried to dox an individual, if he comes forth and does anything naughty, we're going to reveal his identity to people, as though that would be legal, by the way, to do. This is a private citizen, not a celebrity. There is a different legal threshold. Public figures, people who are considered celebrities, politicians, public workers, their identity can be released at will, and it's perfectly legal to do so unless you're encouraging violence. Private individuals who have chosen not to disclose their identity, it's a little bit of a different story, and Kirsten Powers went on there on CNN yesterday as well to talk about how people don't have a right to anonymity. Yes, they do. If they are in fact using a website to dispense information that allows anonymity, it would be highly illegal for CNN to attempt on its own volition to break that anonymity as a reaction for someone criticizing them. It would in fact be highly illegal for them to do so, and to threaten to do so is probably illegal too. Even Ted Cruz, the loser himself, comes out and says, they may have broken a Georgia extortion law in the process of doing this. Yeah, they probably did. Because clearly, you read the last paragraph of their write-up about this issue, it is clear, cut and dry blackmail. That's all it is. But thankfully, CNN's already suffering, and I bet CNN smirking about this issue. They won't be smirking soon if the heat is kept up under their feet. And I do encourage people online, do not ever use CNN's website. Boycott it completely. Contact their advertisers. Go ahead, because clearly it shouldn't be acceptable for a corporation, which is what CNN, to engage in that kind of behavior. Absolutely unacceptable. Some people are going after, they've got a petition right now on change.org, because CNN has essentially a monopoly in most parts of the country in airports. That is, airports which are kind of publicly funded entities, by the way, tend to broadcast CNN. Now, Texas, I think they broadcast Fox. I remember going through the airport, and I think the Houston airport or something, it was Fox News. Everywhere else, though, that I've been, it's CNN. That is actually a fairly decent argument. That's a fairly decent strategy, too. It would be a little bit of a conflict to have a private corporation that simply has a license to broadcast from the FCC getting piped through these airports if they're publicly funded. It is a little bit of a conflict there. It's not exactly a free market situation. Meanwhile, CNN has taken such a massive hit in the App Store that it's unlikely that their rating there will ever recover. They've fallen to 1 star. If there was less than 1 star to give to them, I'm sure that they'd be less than 1 star at the moment. It's like thousands and thousands of ratings. Then you have people attempting to contact their advertisers. A list has been released of different groups. I think it's like Ace Hardware, and if I remember, Expedia, and a few of these other groups. They advertise with CNN to try to get their advertisers to tell them to cut it out or drop their advertising. It's not clear that that's going to work, because I think while this is more outrageous than what scandals we saw at Fox, because those involved private individuals apparently harassing one another, Fox then forces them out, which was the proper thing to do. This involves all of CNN apparently being complicit in blackmail, with nobody attempting to retract or apologize for their potentially, at least legally, dubious behavior. Now, I see that as a much greater outrage that justifies a much greater response. But a lot of people in these corporations won't see it that way. They'll just say, there's nothing wrong with what CNN said. Yeah, because this person was like anti-Semitic or something. We're not even necessarily 100% sure this is the person who made the video in the first place, by the way. In fact, it now seems quite possible that it was actually coming from somewhere totally different, that Trump never interacted with this user in any substantial way, that Trump didn't see this video because some staffer saw it on Reddit and decided to link that exact video to Trump for him to tweet out. It now seems like that is a very real possibility. The other possibility, of course, is that this user may not even be 18. So CNN's having some significant problems. Meanwhile, they're also getting hit in the ratings. They've fallen down. They're now the number 3 cable news network. Fox is actually, for primetime ratings, for the big-time sort of general slots, we're talking when people are getting off work and they tend to tune into the boob tube for some unknown reason, Fox is now back on number 1, actually, and MSNBC is barely behind them. They're the 2 big ones. CNN is below the History Channel. Then again, I think they're below FX, actually, if I remember correctly. I'd have to look at the list. I'm not going to bother opening it right now. They're way down the list. They've taken a huge hit. Apparently, morale there is as low as it is at the New York Times as they prepare to fire half of their copy editors. As though they didn't have enough fucking problems as a media outlet. Now they've got fewer editors who now have to do much more strenuous work. I can't wait to see all of the typos within the New York Times articles. Not that I ever frequently solicit them anyway. The link will always be archived. My main suggestion, though, whenever possible, is either to not use these sites, CNN, Fox, MSNBC, Vox, Salon, Vice, whatever it happens to be. And if you must, if something there is compelling, if you're providing the link for criticism, like I've got links here, one of them's to CNN, but I'm criticizing their article, archive them. Use archive.is. I realize that there's some concern that sites like Vox are trying to go around the archival capabilities. Very well then, make a blog post and simply copy the article out. It's as simple as that. That would work. Or simply boycott them and not refer to them at all. Why would you refer to Vox in the first place? Unless you're criticizing them. You'd have to be nuts to take anything they say seriously. But CNN's having some major problems. It's funny to watch. It's a good thing. And I said, this was back in December, or January. And last night I tweeted out the video where I say this. I fully expected that the legacy media would begin character assassinating private individuals. Yeah, well, I guess it's come true. And here's the response. The response of the internet should be, whenever possible, boycott them. Contact their advertisers. Slam them in all ratings that you can online. It's one of the powers of the internet. Democratized rating systems. They're wonderful. That's how we respond. That and just keep up the criticism on YouTube, Twitter, wherever it happens to be. That's the way to defeat these people. Because they're only capable of defending themselves within an echo chamber. They don't have enough of an online reach to do it effectively online. And typically they say dumb stuff and they get themselves hammered over and over again anyway, so who cares? CNN slips in the ratings. Their app gets basically destroyed. Their YouTube channel, you should see the ratings on all of their videos there. And all of the comments, which half of them are people telling them that they're fake news. They're beginning to look a little bit like MTV News did after their Dear White People expose, which was about the funniest thing I ever saw. You remember, all of a sudden they lost thousands of subscribers and their ratings plummeted, and they keep getting hammered. Even now, months and months later, they still get people talking about that. And most of the attention they get on their YouTube channel, at least, is totally negative. CNN now will fall into the same trap. They've essentially cut off their own capability of growth by alienating millions of individuals. And it goes beyond the partisan. There were people, now yesterday on Twitter, people who were on the left trying to defend CNN saying, oh, I guess the progressives now, they have no problem with like Nazis and anti-Semites and stuff like that. That's not the point, though. Doesn't matter if this user had bigoted views. We're talking about the president retweeting a funny video. That's all we're talking about. This particular user is a private individual. It doesn't matter. You wouldn't have cared about this video being made or what this person believed in until it was presumed that Trump got a video clip from him that may not have even been acquired from this particular user. Why do you think the White House didn't bother to address it? They probably got it from somewhere totally different. They don't want CNN going after whoever they did get it from. Maybe it's someone who's just a generic Republican. Hell, maybe it was a Bernie Sanders fan who's pissed off at the DNC. Wouldn't that be a laugh? And it's of course possible that's the case. So poor CNN, poor legacy media. It's wonderful to see them die off. You know, increasingly people are like, why am I even watching cable? You know, you pay through the nose for this. Why on earth, why would you pay for a newspaper? Why would you pay for, like, cable news? You can get that shit. Just stream it online. If you're really that addicted to CNN or Fox, just stream it online and have, a cable hooked up to your computer and your TV screen. You can watch it that way. It's a lot better. Yeah, you're paying a lot less money. Isn't it wonderful? You're seeing less ads. Wow. I would think that that's great. It's called technological advancement. It's like somebody using a rotary phone. Oh, the fiber optic cables, fuck that shit. I want to keep sitting here taking 30 seconds to dial a fucking phone number. That's what it resembles to me. It's stubbornness. So teach, and for any of you out there, here's another part. You've got relatives or friends or something that just, they haven't made the switch and turned off cable because they can't quite understand the whole internet social media thing. Help them set it up. Show them how great the internet is. Show them how wonderful, how much more content there is, how much cheaper it tends to be than you're paying as much for a newspaper subscription now as you would for internet anyway in most places in the United States. Get them to make the switch. The weaker that we can make the legacy media by canceling newspaper subscriptions, by turning off cable, and by reaming them online, the less likely it is that they can export their propaganda successfully to the internet. Because they'll begin hemorrhaging money, they'll have to downsize, and they'll be weaker than some of the alt media. We can get this accomplished. It would take a year-long campaign or less to totally cripple their efforts to merge into the online community. It would take less than a year, probably, to completely thrash them. That's what we need to do. That's about all. Peace out.